Well, it's a sad day in gaming. Well, at least for me here on ARC, we're going to end up having our server shut down. The main people that own it and run it are going to shut down our server, and there's really no way for me to keep any of this for future gaming and so on because it's on a separate server. Here I am in my cryopod, or in my pod. Let me get out of this and I'll show you. This is basically just my sleep room, and I was able to get an extremely high level tech suit that's there, and again guardian suit that's there. Show you around just a little bit and give you an overview. I will do another video showing my variations of manuses and breeders that we were able to pull out of this during this, but here's basically my farmers that I go. I've got a Megatherium, he's great for chitin and things like that. Mantis, which is great for flint, and so much more. And I've got a bunch of types of mantis. Again, I'll show you. I have a mantis army, but a Doedicurus. Each one of these collects, other than the Thylacoleo, he's my whoop ass. And then, of course, in the water, a Baryonyx seems to be very superior, especially when you got him up around 530. And here's just my extra snow owl that I have at 516, but I have a lot of them that are at 535 and above. And he was just an extra, which whenever I pull him out of there, he's going to go up quite a few levels. I've never had to use him. And here are secondaries, and a secondary Tech Rex that I had that's really my red-headed Rex out of the group that we had, and others. And inside of this pod, just separated on them, is also all the other weird creatures that we had. Here's a rock drake that I had, gas bags even, Dark Star, a high-level lightning wyvern, and his partner, PJ Sparks, and Doedicurus that I have as a backup. There's a griffin. I have Giganosaurus, so there's a Giga that I have named Chumps, a rainbow Anki, which is different than the other, so he's an X-Anki, and Tickle Munster, as I call him, a Therizinosaur, but he's Tickle Munster with his big claws and stuff that's there. He's pretty much a giant sloth, the things that died off at the last ice age and the comet that hit the earth and caused all kinds of hell that I have other videos about and all the other topics here. But here's a Tapajera, which the pterosaur, the one that has a bladed head, and all the super colors that are on him and so on. Rainbow Stego, so different versions of each one, even the shadow mains. And so we've gotten pretty much everything that we need, including Maywings and other types of wyverns, fire wyverns, and so on, ice wyvern, and variations on a theme. And then I have like 6 different Megatheriums that I've been able to breed up, and they're really just backups that we could put. And I thought about taking each one as I've loaded it up. I'm on my 3rd one now, and I leave them at the place that we normally collect at, so just in case you lose one anyhow, you can go back and be in the same state. But also sometimes when you transfer, oops, I forgot to grab the Megatherium before I even went, there's one in a cryopod at each one. And I'm going to do another short video also that'll show the different bases that we had set up and kind of why they're set up that way, because there are farms in each one. Although right now in the queue there's supposed to be 9 different places I can go to, and there's only 6. So here's another backup with just more cryopods. And then of course I have these Argentavis, which are a giant rock eagle, if you will, of the time. And I named them after trucks. There's Mack, there's Peterbilt, there's Kenworth, and so on. Here's my Mantis army, and again I'll do another video where I break all these guys out, because these are all different colors and mutations that I've been able to get up, from yellows and purples and greens, rainbow backs, neon chested, and so on. And this is a backup basically if I just need to grab something real quick, I can do off of it, but I've already changed that to the other pod set that's over here. Man, we had so much stuff backed up. Here I have over 600, if not 700 version, and 1,300 armors of each one that I have, and that's the lower set that I have in here, because the higher set's over there on the wall, i.e. right there, that guy, or this guy, and you can just go up to it and click it and flip onto that. So if we're going to go do a boss fight, I'd click onto that, and depending, I would click onto this one. But if I want to be able to use the thrust and the flight capabilities and stuff, you can only do it on this map. Well, I've got some element on each one of the other maps and was able to do that. Here's where we built another secondary module for our buddy, and Captain lives, glitchy, lives up in here. I put a royal carpet into him for him not long ago, but there's his pods and his vault and so on. I use real common vaults. I thought about replacing those, but they stick out a little more. It's not too much. And again, I hand painted that Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon that's right there. I know it's opposite of what the actual album cover has on it, but hey, I winged it. Did some other pictures here too, where I just basically drew them, you know, not that I'm Bob Ross or anything. Colored up a lot of things, and the lights in this place are really all these trophies that are here. In fact, we can go back here, and many of y'all might remember this is a Christmas room with a Christmas tree there and all the hanging up stuff, but we've put in a lot of these special creatures that we have here, and each pod here has a lot inside of it, access, or so you can change it out from one that's already in there by just going in the inventory, and there might be another one that's inside of it. Some of them have 2 or 3 or 4. There's some of them where I have that variation, but I've got 6 or 8 of that variation, and so on. There's Captain, there's me, and so we did copies of that and stuff. Some pretty neat variations. This one came from Easter of last year. This came from Valentine's Day, and I believe that one right there is from Valentine's Day too. But here we have the cameras where we can look at every single spot that's in here too, which is pretty neat. Built this area here, didn't really use it, but if we all three got together, we'd generally get in one place and talk about it, and we could always do this for fun to go over there, but you could stand anywhere. And so that's really just the housing. And I've got my hell spawn that's in here, level 340 built up, ready to go, full charged, sitting on passive in the garage. We've got these lights we can turn on, and I even threw one of the stegos in here, as you'll see in a minute. I have far too many taxidermies. Thought about building a museum if we could, you know, or something like that, but I wanted ones that have glow on them like magma to do the entrances for each one. So I've got ones that pretty much match and are negatives of each other. 2 Manuses here, when the sunlight's on them they're bright yellow, but a stego down there, T-Rex down there, kind of give you an idea. And these are my major farmers that are out here. This is Barry that I was using, 552 Baryonyx, and RG1 is my first RG, and I kept him and I haven't lost him, believe it or not, as compared to a lot of other things. But my Megatherium here I named Ludo. A lot of you people might recognize that from the movie Labyrinth and stuff. And here's 2 different versions of the black cherries that I have that have swords on them that I was building up and taking them out to battle everything down our run here, and then coming back all the way around over there. And let's take an overview of the whole thing here for a minute too. I mean, this is probably what I should have started with and then described it, because it's kind of the compound, if you will. So centering the screen up there is again our hut, if you will. There, the glass sculpture that is right here is actually our garden and growing. Here's the replicator that's out here. All of our product that we keep to do all of our building is right there, and then attached onto it is the building that's here with a little hex top that's on it and stuff, and that's where we do most of our building. Here's where all the animals are kept and all the genetics are done and so on like that, and we made it big enough in a double wide situation this time that we could pop out gigas, and while you're popping out gigas I can do this over here and that over there. And quite often we would run and do the quest that'll let you pop out babies much faster and go through it, or eggs and so on like that in gestation periods, and run those real quick and then come back, and that would give us a lot of collective. I see that right above me is a Tapajara. There he goes, casting his shadow. So then we built a hex on the back of this, and I had ideas about building a ramp thing all the way around to where it built to this side to that side, and even put some of the stuff in there, but we took it back out and left it glass and open where it was really the overlook. And if you go there and look, it's in the overlook. But that little point out here that we're showing is where we have all these Dionychuses to breed for eggs, and the little pop out hexes that are built on right there out of glass at the end of the system that's here is where we have all of our incubators. We keep this wyvern out here because we're gonna, if we make a bunch of mistakes, we just walk him out here and he takes care of them for us. And it's built him up. And again, here's one of our farming guys right here, the text strider. But the main one I used is here, and I would take it and run down here and do all that and get metal in here and then go all the way through that side and so on. The replicator right there, and we put platforms around here to build onto this a little bit, so we make sure that when we go through here with the text striders and around here and auto eject everything into the system, that we don't accidentally come off the wall, because it was getting pretty close. Here's a little idea that I built onto, and this was going to be our chilling area. Of course, we already have one or two, and then we also have the whole barbecue party area here that was done in Adobe, and I'll get a closer look at that in a minute. But with this right here, I was going to build it down and try to do glass off of it and stuff, that where we could go around and take a good look at it and so on. And it was really a hop down, boink, bounce back up. Here's a dummy you can attack if you want to. Oh yeah. But barbecue, full thing of beer and stuff going on, and we've got beer and wine going on too on the other side of the compound. And here's a trough made into the indention here, and then as you can see, I made my glass room up above that holds on to the guys. Yeah, some of these stands for those were sticking out just a little bit. Some of that we don't mind, some of it meh. And so a quick walk through here and a look. We started it off at one level and quickly needed more space than that and had to build up on top, but that also made the place a whole lot more open and gave a little bit of glass area. In fact, I often thought that we could take a section out of this and put it upstairs and not block the glass all the way around, but it doesn't matter as much really. But you can see here that I've got, well, start over here with all the thatch and wood and everything that we've got millions of each one. You can see the high numbers here on each one. There's no metal here, but we constantly turn metal into other things. A lot of silica pearls here, but there's a lot on the fabricator back there in the background. Some black pearls to use. A lot of keratin and chitin that we haven't really used. 205 out here, but there's a lot more, because inside the other room is where we were doing all the fabricating, where you take two of these things and make it into a third or so on. Each one, lots of electronics, lots of this, lots of that, and lots of element that's in here. But then also a huge amount of polymer. I got over 100,000, so that started to look good. Gemstones, which are used for specialties and so on. And let's just take a look here. We never put the mounts on that. Up there we're going to have mounts for each one, but didn't have a chance to do it. We'll have to do that in the next one. But here is all the different types of weapons that we use, and the bullets and things that go along with it. And it's one short, so we had an extra storage there. And again, some of the little trophies that I've gotten around, titanoboas. And then in here we have all the saddles that are already pre-made that are good. Downstairs we also have saddles, but they're just meh for each creature that we have, and if it's not an important one. All the trophies that we have for inside of here, but they're actually on the wall, on the other wall right down there. pets. So not only do I have a few pets on me, as you can see over here on the left with these three guys, the owl and so on, but we've got pets from all of the events and so on. So that's been something we can fill up. But hey, I quit killing my pets. So here's basic saddles again versus the ones that are pre-made, and then the good ones downstairs. And then we don't have anything actually in each one of these vaults because in a lot of them we were able to put different things. Here's just some of the taxidermy that I have, taxidermy stuff, but then again most of them are stacked up in the viewers here. Here's tech armors and extras and overflows that we have off of that. But here's what I call dookie, but it's basically already made fertilizer and plumbing pipes, so on like that. We have a jump down here. We put a fabricator up here just in case for fun. Wanted to put something in there. And here are all the trophies basically for all the different creatures and all the different creatures again. So artifacts and trophies. And then inside of this vault, let's try that again. Inside of this vault is all specialty items that we have that we know are at the highest level, and if we can replace them, then we take them out of other ones. You can see you can just jump out the wall right here and be gone, so you can get your stuff, or you can put stuff in here and then just jump out the wall and be gone. But also you can just jump downstairs here, and this thing's been going all day, but let's see, I probably don't have any ingots left. Yep, still some metal, some ingots, a whole lot of gas again and everything. But I've gotten up to where we had 640,000 here, but I can take 1/3 of that at a time and throw it in here, and it'll take a day to eat it up. Haven't been able to go to get metal here lately, but hide 609,000. There's another hide that's in there. This is all just overflow and usage. So whenever I'd go out and farm, I'd basically put it in here, and overflows went in there, right? Oil and everything way up to the mount. These smithies are all loaded up. This chem labs are all loaded up and everything to make toxic darts and so on. And we thought anything that's just BS that we pick up into the fabricator, chew it up, and it makes more stuff out of it. Wine, there's a cooking pot for events, and if you ever need it. This again is totally full, but I only put like 5 gas in it at a time, because if we don't use it for a while, it'll just sit there and burn up and burn up and burn up. It's all prime meat that's left in there. But you can see here that I've turned all the metal that's over there, that's inside of the furnace, into 1.5 million of those. And polymer you occasionally get out of stuff, but I still put it over there in the major amount. But you need it in here sometimes to fabricate and so on. So I bring lots of it over here and put it in. But instead of putting it in there, I usually put it in here. There's an external amount. You can only put a certain amount of incubators in a place at a time, and I believe it's 3, which we have over at the other place. So we took the other ones out, and in case there's a 4th, I needed to use it whenever I was making all the manuses. Again, trophies lighting things up, and you can see out of the way. But there's flint here, there's gunpowder, but then I've got hundreds of stacks of gunpowder in the smithies to make stuff out of too. And just to look in each one of these chem labs I have going on, it's just totally full of flint and spark powder, and you make flint and spark powder and then the gunpowder, right? And this access here is totally full of chitin over on the right, and I still have lots of chitin left. There's 1 million chitin there. And cementing paste, which is another thing that you make out of it, and 604,000 to give you a lot of it. So we have that effect. But overall, this is the compound where everything's bred at. And I guess a good thing to show you is how this place worked. Was here we have the breeder huts that I was talking about that you could see from the top that are glass. And we had enough for 4 spaces here, but you can only put 3 of them, so I put one of our best taxidermies in there. And this goes out, and you're able to run around and stuff. But then also the other side here, and we thought about building it in, but the way it's built, it's kind of hard. But there's a Christmas tree, and I thought we'd put Christmas tree out here and stuff like that for whenever it happens. Again, I tried to put a ledging around here, and we kind of blew it off and just left it like that, so it's an easy walk around. And so a lot of the things are bred out of here. There's one of my last black cherries. There's some more manises over there. A magmasaur in the distance. Fuzzbud is his Megatherium chitin collector, and Pink Panda was just a variation. It's actually a lower level than the ones that we got as our breeding pair. But hey, that's cool. Thought we about breed it in for colors, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not too much on freak colors. I like something that looks a little more natural. Although birds can have a lot of highlights and things like that, and of course, if you believe in magma creatures, and then you have tech things like this. But around this ring that we have here, well, here's the guy that are loveless. And so, of all the creatures that we've all collected, these are ones that don't have a mated pair to them. So it's either a male or a female, and we need a high-level reverse of such to end up getting an even better amount. And then there's number 2 and number 3 of things we're working on. Here's a sheep grow out, and I grew up a bunch of sheep. They're so elder that when we pull them out, you put all into health, and you can get enough pelt and meat to just do everything that you ever needed. Here's a to-do list, and I think I had, orchid. I've perfected the way to make the orchid mantis, and therefore that's one of the females, but now I've got a mutated form that's in the other pile, and so I was going to breed them together, and this is the female, the other is a male. It's going to work fine, and after you make a few of them, and then you have a male with a few females, to where you can spit out more than once. Like you have 2 or 3 mates that are around here, and everybody wants one. I want one too. Here's the unused Rex army. These are just extras of these Rexes, and if you look at the number, it's kind of probably hard to see in the thing here, but they started out at 638s, but it's at 739 now, and they still have a few levels I believe they can hit again by doing bosses and so on like that. Each one of these are set up to do extra things on the side, and this is the true Rex army, because you can really only get this army that amount in one. So that's it for this video. Hold on.